Kshetram, here Kshetri should be taken as the Atma, not Kshetri. Kshetri can be taken as Atma. Kshetri, Kshetrajnaha iti. Kshetri means what? Kshetrajnaha, the Atma. Ilyu means what? Kritsnam Kshetram. Kritsnam Kshetram means what? The Atma, the Deha, and the entire Jivatvam. That is called Kshetram. When we say the field of knowledge, the realm of perception, the entire realm of knowledge is what is called Kshetram. Now this Kshetram includes what? The world, the body, the senses, the mind, the intellect, the memory, and the individuality. All of them, aham pratyavishayatvam. All of them come under what? All that disappears, all that you don't see in Sushupti is called Kshetram. Clear? Koi jhagda hi nahi. All that you don't see in Sushupti is called Kshetram. And you in Sushupti without the rest is called Kshetrajnaha. You are Atma present in all the three avasthas. And whatever has negation in Sushupti, whatever is not in Sushupti is Kshetram. Whatever is in Sushupti is Kshetrajnaha, and whatever is in Sushupti is also in the waking, because you are there. सुषुप्ति में भी आप हैं, जागृत में आप हैं, स्वप्न में आप हैं, लेकिन there is something which is not common to all the three avasthas. Anatma is in Jagrat, Anatma is in Swapna, Anatma is not, Anatma is in Jagrat, Anatma is not in Sushupti. Atma is in Jagrat, Atma is in Sushupti. Therefore, what is common to both the avasthas? Atma. What is uncommon to both the avasthas? Anatma. What is uncommon? What is not common? Anatma. Anatma is here, is not there. Atma is here, is there also. And therefore, that Anatma, the entire Anatma is what is called Kshetram. The one who knows it is called Kshetri, means Kshetrajnaha. That is the meaning. Here Kshetri means not actually Jiva, Kshetri means the Atma. So this Kshetri, Prakashayati, illumines, knows Kritsnam Kshetram, the entire Kshetram. Prakashayati Bharata. Hey Arjuna, just as the Aditya illumines the entire world, physical world, the Kshetrajna illumines the entire Kshetram. The Kshetram includes what? The outside world, the light, all the five elements plus the body, senses, mind, intellect, everything is what is called Kshetram. It is all illuminated by Atma. Therefore, what is the truth of the sense organs? Atma. As the truth of the sense organs, it is called Shrotrasya Shrotram, Chakshushaha Chakshuhu, Manasaha Manaha. Iti cha Gitasu. All these statements from the Gita have been quoted. Some of the statements from Gita, some of the statements from the Upanishads have been brought in here by Bhashyakara to highlight the point that the Atma being the presence behind all of it, therefore it is called the Chakshushaha Chakshuhu Shrotrasya Shrotram iti. So many quotations Shankara would never bring. So many quotations he would never bring. All the quotations. He would only bring one or two. Itni kabhi nahi batayenge. Anyway, and then going to tell. Now some more he brings. Katakecha. Some more. See, when whoever quotes too much has very little to say. Supposing you keep on quoting from here and there and here and there and here and there, then you have no point to. There is no unfoldment. It's very difficult. One quotation is enough. Shastra, no quotations kya karna. Kathakecha. Now in the Kataka Upanishad. Nityo nityanam chaitanyas chaitanyanam chetananam. Atma is the nitya of nitya and the chetanam of chetanam. This is in fact most relevant. You can talk about Atma as the nitya of nitya. Right? Like here it is said, it is the eye of the eye, ear of the ear. It is just like saying it is the Nityam of the Nityam, Chetanam of Chetanam. Nityam of Nityam means the body which appears to be Nityam, relatively Nityam, sense organs which appear to be Nityam, Atma is the Nityam of that Nityam. Jiva is conscious, but Atma as Atma is the truth of the Jiva which is conscious. So it is the truth of the conscious, it is the truth of the relatively conscious being called Jiva. It is the truth of the Jiva which appears to be Nityam. Jiva appears to be Nityam, Jagat appears to be Nityam, but relatively Nityam, but the Nityam of this Nityam is Atma. Jiva appears to be conscious, but really conscious being is Atma, which is the truth of this relatively conscious being, that is called Antahkarana. Here Chaitanya means Antahkarana. It is the truth of the Antahkarana, truth of the Deha. We'll talk about it more in the next class. Yahan tak bas. So please understand that is, there is nothing wrong in saying that Atma is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye. It simply means, it doesn't mean that Atma is a ear, like this ear, eye, like this eye. It means it is the presence because of which it is a conscious being, because of which the ear functions, the eye functions. Not only the function, they also exist. The entire realm exists because of it. So that is enough. We'll see more later on. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Om Tat Satavate Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kitav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah. So we were doing Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam iti. So according to Gita also, Gita has been brought in here just to show the Atma illumines Anatma. A given sense organ illumines a given sense object, whereas Atma illumines the sense organ as well as sense object as one block. Sense organ, a given sense organ illumines a given sense object, whereas Atma illumines the realm of sense organ and sense object. What we call Prapancham is nothing but sense organ and sense object. That is called perception. Perception cannot be there without object of perception, means of perception, and the subject of perception. Subject means individuality, pramata. So that means what is prapancha? Perception. And this perception implies what? Object of perception, subject of perception, means of perception. Pramatra, pramana, prameya. So, a given pramanam means what? A given sense organ illumines a given sense object. Then what does Atma illumine? Atma illumines the very perception. Atma illumines the realm of perception. Atma illumines the presence and absence of the realm of perception. Therefore, we can say Atma is the ear of the ear because it illumines the ear. It is the eye of the eye, it illumines the eye. It is the thought of the thought, mind of the mind, illumines the mind. Therefore, it is as the illuminator means as the knower, You are the knower. Atma is the knower of the presence and absence of perception. Therefore, it is this sense of the sense organs, means the light of the sense organs, the knower of the sense organs. He brought in Krishna's statement, that is, two statements we have seen. The Kshetri, the knower, illumines the entire Kshetram. The Atma illumines the entire Anatma. Similarly, Nityo Nityanam Chetanash Chetananam. What appears to be Nityam, Atma is the truth of that Nityam. Because even though things are temporary, we always consider it as Nityam. कल तो चले जाएंगे, लेकिन सोचेंगे कि तो नित्य है. Continuity in time is not eternity. Continuity in time is not eternity. So Jiva seems to be continuous in time, but Atma is timeless, is the truth of the continuous. As the truth of the time and as the truth of things in time, Atma is called Nityam. Nityaha Nityanam. Chetanas Chetananam. And it is the consciousness which is the swarupam of all those conscious beings. Atma is consciousness in the conscious beings. The one who is conscious, every living being is also conscious, Now that conscious, to be conscious of the Jagat, to be conscious of one's body, to be conscious of the world, is what is called being a conscious being. And his Swarupa is what? Consciousness. Therefore, to be conscious of something is not your nature. To be consciousness is one's nature. Therefore, Atma is Chetanam in all the Chetanas. Atma is the Nityam as the truth of all the things existent in time. Now he says, Shrotradyeva sarvasya atmabhutam chetanam. People think, Jiva in ignorance thinks that sense organs themselves, Shrotradi. Shrotradi means what? Sense organs, mind, intellect, these faculties. These faculties are called Shrotradi. Eva alone, Sarvasya Atmabhutam, is the self of everything. They think, what is self? The self is nothing but body, senses, mind, intellect. This is called self. Means what? I am there when they are there. I am not there when they are not. Body dies, senses die, thought dies. Mai kaha hu? Mai to hai nahi. Therefore, what is me? Self is nothing but Shrotradi. The self is nothing but Shrotradi. When the senses are there, I am conscious. When thought is there, I feel I am conscious, I am aware. When I am seeing, I feel I am aware. When I am thinking, I feel I am aware. When I am remembering, I feel I am aware. When I have pleasure and pain, I feel I am aware. Supposing there are no senses, no mind, no thought, no memory, no pleasure, no pain. That means what? Consciousness is gone. Consciousness dies with the death of the senses. This is the Bhranti. The Bhranti is when perception is, I am conscious. When perception and thought are not, I am not conscious. This is the Bhranti. That is negated here. It is not that when perception is, you are conscious, when thought is, you are conscious, otherwise you are not conscious. In fact, because you are consciousness, you illumine the presence of perception, you illumine the absence of perception. When the thought is, you are there to see, look at the thought. When thought is not there, then again you know the absence of the thought itself. Therefore, your being conscious never comes to an end. And that particular thing is established here. Consciousness does not mean perception and thought. Consciousness does not depend upon perception and thought. Meaning what? It does not depend upon senses and antakarma. It is being said here. Shrotradyeva sarvasya atmabhutam, it is self of everything. Chetanam is called consciousness. Iti prasiddham. This is prasiddham in the world. What is prasiddham in the world? Senses are consciousness. Thought itself is consciousness. When there are no senses, when there is no thought, there is no chetanam, there is no consciousness. Iti prasiddham. Tadiha nivartyate. That is being negated here. This particular bhranti, this particular conclusion, this particular universal conclusion that senses, when senses are, there is chetanam. When thought is, there is chetanam. When there are no senses, when there is no thought, when there is no consciousness. Iti prasiddham. This conclusion, universal conclusion, is being negated. How is it negated? Asti kimapi. There is something. There is a fact. Asti. There is a fact independent of the senses and the thought. Asti kimapi vidvad buddhi gamyam. The subject matter for understanding. Vidvad buddhi gamyam does not mean experienced by wise men. Available for understanding. Available for vidvad buddhi gamyam means what? Jnana gamyam ityartaha. As if to be available for understanding. There is a fact which is available for understanding. Vidvad buddhi gamyam, you can underline and write down, available for understanding. There is some fact which is available for understanding, it's available for seeing. As what? As independent of perception and thought. Generally we say Vidvad, Shankara never says Vidvad buddhi gamyam. Vidvad anubhav vishayam and all. These are all later Mahatmas, some of them wrote. Supposing you say, there is some truth, but it is experienced only by Rishi Muni Mahatma log. ऋषि मुनि महात्मा लोगों का अनुभव में आते हैं, हमारे जैसे साधारण लोग हैं ना, उनके अनुभव में नहीं आता है. लाइक लॉ ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन, एक ट्रूथ है, वो केवल विद्वान लोगों के अनुभव में होता है, हमारे लोगों का अनुभव में नहीं. ऐसा होता है? और एवरीबडी इज विद इन द अनुभव ऑफ लॉ ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन. इफ यू आर नॉट विद इन द अनुभव ऑफ लॉ ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन, यू विल बी फ्लाइंग, यू विल बी समवेयर. The truth is within the anubhava of everyone. And whatever is within the anubhava of everyone, what is within your anubhava should be available for your recognition, is it not? Therefore, can you say that it is available, it is recognizable only by, it is experienceable only by Rishi Muni Mahatma? ऐसा तो नहीं ना. Therefore, it should not be vidvad buddhi gamyam, it should be buddhi gamyam. It is available for understanding by anybody. Any fact should be available for understanding by anybody. Fact means it should be available for seeing by anybody, not mystical. Mysticism is a different thing. Personal experience is different from facts. So, vidvad buddhi gamyam, please underline and write down, it means available for understanding. There is something which is available for understanding as independent of perception and thought. Sarvantratamam, the inmost of all. There is something which is inmost of all. Inmost of all means not at all available for objectivity. These are thoughts, any number of times you repeat. The more one understands it, the more Vedanta becomes clear. When we say inside and outside, there is no inside part, outside part concept. Generally we say inside, outside. How do we think? Inside something, outside something. Like a pot, inside the house, outside the house. Inside pot, outside pot. Inside ocean, outside ocean. Can you think differently? Inside outside concepts can entertain differently. अंदर बाहर जब हम कहेंगे, now here Atma is inside. Inside what? Inside his body. Deep inside the core of your heart, there is Atma. Outside body, Anatma. There is no such thing called inside, outside, inside, outside in that manner. Here inside, outside means objectifiability is called outside, unobjectifiability is inside. Is it clear? To objectify, to know, to make it an object. Like we say the 5 elements are what? Outside or inside? Outside means what? Objectifiable. What is body? Objectifiable or not? I see it. It's before my attention. An object of my attention is called objectifiability. Objectifiability is what is called being outside. To be outside means what? Objectifiability. Objectifiability. So what is body? Inside, outside? Body wholesale is outside. How can you say Atma is inside it? The whole body is outside. How can Atma be inside the body? If it is inside the body, then it is a part of the body. If it is a part of the body, then how can Atma be a part of the body which is wholesale outside? The whole body is objectified, therefore it is bahyam, it is external, it is outside. What about sense organs, outside or inside? Outside, because they are all objectified. Senses are seen. You know them. You know them or not? Do you know them or they are you? You know the sense organ. When sight is, I know it. When sight is not, I know it. Therefore, what is it me or is it known to me? Is body you or is it known to you? Is known to you. Senses are known to you. Thoughts are known to you. Memory is known to you. That means you are the one who knows. The one who knows cannot become an object, therefore he is the subject. The subject not available for objectification is what is called inside. All that can be known is outside. The one who knows is inside. And he said, Atma is inside, means what? Atma is the one who knows. All that is known is outside and the one who knows inside. Aisa kalte hain, inside outside. That does not mean you create a problem in thinking. That is inside outside iti, both should not be spatial. Inside outside does not mean inside the body and outside the body, please. And to break this thought, to break this thinking in the minds of the people is a job. When we say Atma is inside the body, Baki sab outside the body. Inside outside does not mean inside outside body. Inside means what? Unobjectifiability is what is called pratyak, inside. Objectifiability is called parak, outside. Objectifiable, subject and object. Therefore here Bhagavan says there is a fact which is available for understanding, and sarvantaratama means what? It is inmost of all. Means what? It is not objectifiable like the body. Body can be objectified, but Atma, I cannot be objectified. Senses can be objectified, but not Atma. Thought can be objectified, but not the knower. Memory can be objectified, but not the knower. Pleasures and pains, objectifiable, not the knower. The entire samsara, inside or outside? Outside, objectifiable. Birth and death, outside, because you think of birth and you think of death. Therefore, birth and death are also thought of. Anything that can be seen or thought of is objectifiable. That means external. The one who thinks, the one who objectifies is inside, because he cannot be objectified. Only two things are there. The entire life is nothing but what? Knowing something. There is a knower, there is known. There is someone who is conscious, there is something that is being aware of, the wearer and the weighed, the knower and the known, the conscious and the inert, the thinker and the thought of, the sufferer and the suffered. Same Chaitanya. In this manner there is subject and object. The subject is called inside, the object is called outside. And therefore this Atma, Sarvantaratamam, Kutastham, and it is changeless. Kutastham means what? Changeless. Change is, what is change? To be different from what it was last minute. It was something before, now it is different. That is what is called parinama, otherwise called change. So change is there in the objects. Change is there in the objects. Which objects are in time? They are located in space and they are all objects of perception, and therefore they are all in time. Whatever is an object of perception is in time. Because perception itself is in time. Therefore, what is change? To be different from what it was before. Like the body, it was a small baby before. Then it became a little grown up. Then a little more grown up, more grown up, more grown up, more grown up. Becomes young. Then slowly becomes old, declines, dies. This is what is called parinama. To age and wear out and die is the choiceless, unavoidable quality of every object, any form. That kind of change is not there in the one who witnesses the change. The one who witnesses the change has no change. Because if the witness of the change also changes, then there must be another witness to witness the change of the witness. Because the one who goes through change cannot witness the change. The witness of the change should not change. The witness of the change should not change. The witness of death should not die, because you should be there to witness the death. And one cannot be the witness of one's own death. One cannot witness one's own death. Because if you witness the death, then you are there to witness. That means you are not dead. There is no death. Because death cannot be proved. Death is only thought of. Death cannot be proved. There is no death. Like, supposing a person, before sleep, you are not yet slept. You want to fall asleep, you want to sleep. Now when you are awake, you are listening? When you are awake, then you think of sleep. When you are awake, then you think of sleep. So how do you think of sleep as distinct from the waking state? That means while awake you entertain two thoughts called waking and its own absence called sleep. While awake you think of waking and you also think of the absence of waking called sleep. So the thought of the presence of waking and the thought of the absence of waking, both the thoughts are entertained in waking. Is it not? So when do you think of sleep? While waking you think of sleep as distinct from waking. When the actual sleep takes place, in sleep, do you think of sleep? You don't think of sleep. Because to think of sleep as sleep, you should have the thought of waking. You don't think of sleep. In sleep there is no thought of sleep as distinct from waking. Is it not? That means when do you think of sleep? In sleep or while awake? While awake. So, this very thought of sleep is during waking. When in sleep you don't think of sleep. There is no reference to waking. In sleep there is no reference to waking. There is no reference to prior waking. There is no reference to present waking. In sleep you don't think, पहले तो हम waking थे, अभी तो waking नहीं है, बाद में सुबेरे waking हो जाएगा. In this manner you don't refer to prior waking or later waking or its present absence. In sleep is a reference. Listening about sleep, don't fall asleep. Sleep is not to be had. Sleep is to be understood. Understanding sleep means understanding the truth, yourself. Therefore now here, please see, in sleep there is no reference to waking. Therefore sleep, in sleep, is it called sleep? From the sleep standpoint, is sleep sleep? Sleep can be called sleep in relation to waking. To look at sleep as sleep, you should think of waking and the contrast. Is it not? But do you experience the contrast between sleep and waking in sleep? No. Therefore sleep, in sleep, cannot be called sleep. Where do you see the contrast? Waking. In waking, you see what is waking. In waking itself, you understand what is sleep as distinct from waking. Therefore, sleep is thought of as sleep only in waking, but in actual sleep, sleep is not thought of as sleep. In sleep, do you experience, is there reference to the absence of waking? Is there a thought of absence of waking? In sleep, do you entertain the thought of the absence of waking? No. Because in order to entertain the thought of the absence of waking, you have to remember the prior presence. Is it not? In sleep, to think of the absence of waking, you have to remember the prior presence. There is no remembering the prior presence. Therefore, there is no thought of present absence. Is it clear? That means in sleep, sleep is not experienced as the negation of waking. Sleep is not experienced within the sleep. Sleep is not experienced as the negation of waking. Why? Because in sleep you don't remember the prior presence and then feel now the waking is gone. That kind of experience is not there. Sleep is not experienced as the negation of the waking because there is no memory of its prior presence. Unless I remember the prior presence of a given thing, I can't look at the present absence. अभी नहीं है ये ज्ञान के लिए पहले नहीं था ये मेमोरी जरूरत है. I have to remember the prior presence of my friend to see his present absence. Supposing he is not there, my friend is gone. In order to look at his present absence, I must remember his prior absence. Unless there is reference to the prior presence, there can't be reference to present absence. In Sushupti, there is no reference to the absence of the waking because there is no reference to the prior presence in the deep sleep state. In the same manner, death is thought of when life is. When I am alive, I think of its absence. I think of the absence of life during its presence. But in actual death, Is there a reference to the absence of life? In death you don't have, in death there is no experience of the absence of life. Why? Because there is no reference to its prior presence. There is no reference to its prior presence. When there is no reference to its prior presence, then there is no reference to its present absence. That means what? Nobody can experience death. Everybody thinks of death but not experience death. There is no experience of death. मैं पहले था अभी मैं चले गया, ऐसा कोई होता है? I was alive before, now I am dead. Does anybody think like that? Nobody can think I was alive, I am dead. No. And therefore life and death both are a part of life. Sleep and waking both are a part of waking. What we call sleep is neither waking nor the absence of waking. It is you without a second. It is Paramatma. The sleep is nothing but oneself without a second, without a reference to presence or absence of waking. Similarly, what we call death is not the negation of life. Death is never experienced as negation of life. Why? Because in death there is no reference to the absence of life, because there is no reference to the prior presence. Therefore, death, just as waking and sleeping both are a part of waking, life and death also are part of life alone. One thinks of death while alive, and one thinks of sleep while awake. But actually sleep is oneself without a reference to the presence or absence of waking. So what is sleep? Oneself without a second, meaning what? Where there is no reference to the presence or absence of waking. Similarly, what actually is death? It is oneself without a second, meaning what? Without a reference to? Without a reference to, not merely life, without a reference to the presence or absence of life. And that is non-duality. And therefore, Atma is free from change, free from death. There is no death for Atma. What dies is perception becomes unmanifest, the thought becomes unmanifest. But the one who witnesses the very absence of thought and perception, he has no absence at all. Tat samarthya. Now, sarvantaratamam kutastham ajam ajaram. It doesn't age. Ajaram means it doesn't age. Atma doesn't have lifespan. Swamiji, how long will Atma live? What is its lifespan? What is its longevity? Does it have 100 years or 200 years? What is the lifespan of Atma? I know the lifespan of body. Can we increase its life? No, lifespan by doing more exercises, and then by running on the roads day in and day out, by increasing our nutrition. Can we really increase the lifespan of the Atma? So Atma's lifespan must be increased. Now, Atma doesn't have a lifespan. What we call lifespan is continuity in time. Is it not? Continuity in time. Continuity in time is what is called continuity from second to second continuity. Continuity means what? Existence from second to second. At this second I am. 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 Therefore, I am is conditioned by second, 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 second. So continuity in time is called lifespan. It's called life. Atma doesn't continue in time. Atma is not in continuous. Atma doesn't have continuous existence. Atma doesn't have continuity of existence. Continuity underline. It doesn't have continuity of existence from second to second. It doesn't exist from second to second. Because it exists even when the second disappears. When the second disappears, when the time disappears also, Atma is as the very witness of the very absence of time, the second. That which witnesses the very negation of the second is not negated when the second is negated. Therefore, what witnesses the very negation of the second? That Atma does not exist in time. If it is not existent in time, if it is timeless, then what is it? What is its lifespan? What exists from second to second can age in time. Atma doesn't exist from second to second. Therefore, if Atma doesn't exist from second to second, because when the time disappears, then also Atma is. Therefore, Atma being the witness of the very absence of time, you witness the absence of time. When the time disappears, the perception disappears, everything disappears, then who knows? In sleep, everything disappeared. Iti whose knowledge? When I went to sleep, Swamiji, there was no time, there was no body, there was no perception, there was no sight, there was no hearing. There was no hearing, there was no seeing, there was no tasting, there was no touching, there was no smelling, there was no thinking, there was no remembering, there was nothing of this realm. Iti, in that manner, the very absence of the totality is a fact or not. In Sushupti, none of these things was there. In the deep sleep state, none of these things was there. Is it disputable or indisputable? Was there anything in the deep sleep state? So the very absence of everything is a known factor. The one who is the witness of the very negation of everything, the one who witnesses the very absence of everything cannot be absent. The one who sees the death of time has no death. The one who sees the death of time has no death. Therefore he is not, doesn't age also. Ajaram. Amritam. And therefore it is Amritam, therefore it is deathless. Doesn't age, therefore doesn't die. Ajaram. Amritam. Abhayam, and therefore it's free from fear. There is no reason for fear in Atma. There is no fear of Atma coming to an end. It is Abhayam. That is exactly what is. It's free from all fears. As the Deha, wherever there is, if the existence is from second to second, is it clear? If existence is from second to second, then there will be a second that existence comes to an end. Second to second existence comes to an end. Second to second existence has a beginning at a given second, ends at another second, goes through many seconds. There is a first second, there is a last second, and in between many seconds flowing through seconds. So existence from second to second has an end, and therefore that existence always involves fear, because I see that my existence going through second to second will come to an end at a given second. Therefore, what is the self I which is free from second is taken to be existent from second to second. When the body exists from second to second, and when the body is equated with me, the being that fills up the body, when there is equation between the body and the me, then whatever is the quality of the body is taken to be my quality. Body exists from second to second, and if I stand equated with body, then I also conclude that I am existent from second to second, and as existent from second to second, I am afraid of that last second at which my existence comes to an end. And therefore, here Bhagavan says, in fact, Atma doesn't exist from second to second. It is taken, it is misunderstood as existent from second to second. It is free from second. It is a witness of the very negation of the second. Therefore, it doesn't exist from second to second. Body exists from second to second, no doubt, but Atma doesn't exist from second to second. But it is taken to be, mistaken to be, due to Bhranti, it is mistaken to be existent from second to second. Therefore, there is fear of death. Therefore, fear of death also is due to what? Bhranti, a misunderstanding about the nature of the self. The self that is timeless is taken to be time bound. But in fact, it is not subject to come to an end. Therefore, it is free from fear. This is abhayam. Shrotraderapi shrotradi. What is this? Shrotraderapi shrotradi. It is this ear of the ear. Means the knower of the ear. Means the knower of hearing. One is the process of hearing. The other is being the witness of that very process of hearing. To be the witness, to be a witness of the process of hearing means to be the witness of the absence of hearing. The ear cannot illumine the absence of sound. What does the ear do? Does it hear the